Hi guys, could Reform UK and the Tories form some sort of electoral pact for the local elections coming up in a few months' time? And what about the general in a few years' time? Is it possible for Farage and a Conservative leader to meet and agree to work together with the goal of getting Labour out of power? Well, that idea isn't exactly new for some on the extreme right of the Conservative Party, and Suella Braverman, when she appeared on the Tom Swarbrick show, suggested that it very much remains an option. Have a listen.
We have been hurt by the Reform Party because their success has been, as you say, meteoric in a very short space of time. And much of our defeat was because of Reform. I've lost count of the number of my colleagues who lost their seats in July because they were reformed effectively. This is our fault. The Conservative Party failed to tackle immigration, we failed to cut taxes, and we failed to stand up for common sense, patriotic values. And it's our fault that Reform has risen so exponentially. In terms of going forward, if you look at the polling, look at this last poll that came out yesterday. If you take the collective vote share of the Conservatives and Reform, we're approaching 50% of the vote. I think it would come up to 47% or something like that. You can't win an election outright on 25%. And ultimately, I'm someone who really does think that we should do whatever it takes to stop another Labour administration. And if there is territory for agreement and coalition, I don't know what you call it or what form it takes, and these discussions will crystallise nearer the election. I do think that if there is alignment between the Conservatives and the Reform Party at the time of the next election, if it means stopping another 5 years of Labour, I would support it.
Okay, so many things to respond to here. So first of all, she's completely ignoring the centre right or the centre of her party. People who run in the opposite direction of having some sort of agreement or coalition with Nigel Farage. So Suella Braverman seems to believe that she's speaking for the party here. And yes, there are a certain number of people, a significant number perhaps, in the Conservative Party that would love to get into bed with Nigel Farage. But I don't think there's a majority. See, this would render the Conservative Party pretty much obsolete. What would they stand for? If they're copying the policies of Nigel Farage. Notice here, she talked about how, the reason we lost the election was because we weren't Farage enough. We weren't right-wing enough. We should have been tougher on immigration. No mention of the cost of living crisis, no mention of Liz Truss's mini budget, no mention of Partygate, no mention of destroying trust with the public, no mention of that whatsoever. So she obviously has not understood why the Conservatives have lost. She just thinks we need to be tougher on the policies that she's mentioned, when that's not the reason why the Conservatives lost. Now, once again, I don't know how you're going to work out an agreement with Nigel Farage when there's a significant portion of your party would be dead set against it. And also, Farage has not come out and said, yes, I'd be willing to do a deal with the Conservatives. Not yet, anyway. Things could change as we get closer to the local elections and eventually the general election. But from today, there's no sign of Farage saying, yeah, let's sit down with the Conservatives, because he has said on a number of occasions that he wants to destroy the Conservative Party. He wants Reform to replace them, not to get into bed with them, not to form a coalition with them. He has said that on a number of occasions. So Suella Braverman, of course, is appealing to the extreme in her party, people who are edging towards Reform UK, and she thinks that, well, what we should do is form a coalition with them. Like, where would you form coalitions? Because there are parts of the country where it would make more sense to appeal to the Liberal Democrat wing of the party, people who are heading in that direction, if you want to hold on to those seats. So this doubling down on the far right within the Conservative Party, on the far right vote in society, is going to sink the Conservatives. It's not actually going to help them. There may be a few seats where if they did work with Reform, it could help them out. But I think Reform are not really interested, at least now, not interested in working with the Conservative Party. They want to sink them. So I'm not sure what Suella Braverman is hoping to achieve by reaching out to Farage and Reform. I don't think it's going to succeed in her favour. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.